Hello, and welcome back to Dot Basement podcast. That is Ken Dryden, and I am Al Michaels. And we are recording this week from, hmm, let's say, the Gunslingers Physical Therapy Center.
There we go. I
The
like
gun,
that
sh-
was good on the
the
spot right
the
there.
gun show. The gun
After
show Physical Therapy Center.
adapting, seeing that I got a tank top on, and typically I'm not like a tank top or muscle shirt type of guy,
Thankfully,
but you will see, yeah, thankfully, I agree. But you will see this actually fits into the little story I'm about to tell. Needed to wear the tank top. I mean, there's part of it where it's like it's 1,000 degrees in Prague today. It has been really, really hot lately. So we don't have AC. None of Europe has AC. They don't believe in that. So we're just kind of suffering through the heat. So the tank top is very appropriate for the weather, but it will play a role here in the story I'm about to tell. But hats off to you, not a tip of the cap and nod to the Gunslingers Physical Therapy uh, Center, whatever you want to call
we
this.
also
Yeah.
could have called it the Farmers Tan Physical Therapy Center
It's
because,
pretty bad,
wow, that's
right?
going to be distracting
Yeah.
for anybody watching this entire time. You might have to
Yes.
just put on a t-shirt after the story's done.
If you're not getting a glare from my dome, you're going to be blinded by my white upper arms that
I-
haven't seen sun in years, apparently.
we uh
Yeah.
we were working on the camera. We have a little Andy now has a camera, so it's a little bit better quality, and we were futzing with the
Here's the
with the
hoping.
with
Yeah.
the color. And I'm starting to realize now that
It's
the
it's
realizing the white balance is off is because my goodness, there's a giant white thing right in the middle of the
yeah.
camera. Yeah.
It's yeah, I was gonna say I'm looking a little washed. Well, like part of the picture's looking a little washed out, and then the rest of it's like, oh, it's a little dark, man. Oh, that part that washed out, that's just my arms.
Yeah.
My arms that have been covered by a
I
t-shirt
might need
for
to
the
go with
entire summer.
sunglasses here for this episode. All right, get
Yeah.
into your story. Physical therapy.
All right. Ah, boy. All right. So, uh, if you watch the show, if you listen to the podcast, Joey, thanks. And Grandma, I think we picked up a couple listeners in the family over the weekend while we were home. Because I think the family's now listening to this. Maybe we'll see. Like to like the first 30 seconds, like a little snippet, TikTok preview, whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I think we need to like name check them so that they continue to listen within the first 5 minutes.
yeah.
Matthew,
So Jessica.
Jessica,
Oh, you want to go Matthew? Go ahead. Go Matthew. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Matthew, Teddy Roosevelt and FDR are different people.
Not the same person.
We're going to talk about that later in the podcast. So
Wow.
hang on with us.
We had a 20-minute conversation in which our cousin Matthew thought we were talking about Franklin Roosevelt, when indeed we were talking about Teddy Roosevelt. He was very, very lost. Yeah.
What do you got to say to Jessica? I think those are the
Jessica,
only
you
two.
better be listening. This ain't just like oh, I saw you guys. No, 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 no. You're committed now. This is going to be a 2.5 hour podcast, and you need to listen to every single second.
I think Uncle Dave will listen. I think
I think Dave will listen as well.
he will
I
he's the
think,
most likely of everyone we've named thus far to
yeah.
tune in because I think he'll enjoy this.
Well, and I think Dave needs to be our Chicago correspondent as
Oh, for
well.
sure. Yeah.
And he was already kind of trying out for the bit. There is
He
nobody
doesn't
who
need to
has a
try out. He just
thicker.
needs to be him.
He's yeah, yeah. There's nobody who has a thicker Chicago accent that I have ever heard in my life. Like Dave is perfect for this.
Yeah.
Like that's what we need to do is like it has to be like regional, like people. Joey's our Detroit correspondent or Michigan correspondent. Dave's got to be our Chicago one because everybody has to play their bit part, has to play their bit role. And Dave's just perfect for a Chicago correspondent. I was watching the Bears, they modeled the super fans off of our Uncle Dave.
Yeah. He was only about 12 years old when that skit came out, but
But
still. I was gonna say something, but Tyler is gonna be our Hardings correspondent. Hardings. Yeah. And then
he's another Detroit correspondent, but
uh
only like Pistons. He's our
yeah, and then
Detroit Pistons correspondent. Yeah.
Stephen Buss will be our Carolinas, but he'll also
Yeah.
be our annoying Michigan fan. So, Steven, prepare for that.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's Steven's lane. So,
But that's what I like. This show is going absolutely nowhere, maybe even backwards. But that's what I like is all of our listeners are going to play a role. Like we're having you on, and you're a correspondent
yeah,
from wherever you are from, and you're
corresponding
going to
on.
play a bit part in
I think we
this.
need to
This
get.
is this is interactive podcasting. In fact, we're elevating the podcasting sphere, the podcasting platform. We're making it interactive podcasting is what
I
we're
think
doing.
actually, now that I think about it, the person who we should get on besides Uncle Dave, I think Uncle Dave would be great. But Thelma, talking to Thelma, I think Thelma, we
Yeah.
should get Thelma on. She can be our grandma correspondent and just give us play by play.
Up,
Well,
updates on grandma.
she
Yeah.
just got 6 down on the crossword, and we're
Yeah.
now moving on to 7 down.
Yeah. All right. So back to the story, which I haven't even started yet. So we were in Michigan, you and I, past 2 weeks. You were a week and a half or whatever. And then we hopped on a plane and went back to our own homes, you in California, me and my wife Alyssa back to Prague. So Alyssa and I fly out Tuesday. Our flight is out of Minneapolis, 12:30 around noon. We fly to Dulles, fly to Washington, D.C., and then hop on a plane there to Vienna, Vienna to Prague early Wednesday morning is when we arrive in Prague. Now, I think this came up on the podcast maybe a couple episodes ago, maybe last episode is I bought new golf clubs and the golf clubs don't work. I gotta send them back. It's definitely not operator error. Okay. They just don't work. But whatever. My dad bought me a travel bag for my brand new golf clubs because I'm going to be toting them back and forth between the States and Prague. And hopefully there has been talk here amongst our little golf group that we're going to start going doing golf outings for the weekend. And so I'll be using the travel bag hopefully to go over to Scotland or Ireland or somewhere where we do like a little golf outing. So I pick up that goes into like oversized baggage. We both have, Alyssa and I both have a larger suitcase, a checked bag, and then also a little roller, a little carry-on with our backpacks. Okay. So once I've picked up everything, I am responsible for have in my hands a little roller, a little carry-on roller, a checked bag, normal size suitcase. That's in my left hand. Okay. I am toting the golf bag, which is rather long, kind of cumbersome, in my right hand. We because we have all of this luggage, we're like, well, let's just take an Uber, a Bolt here in the Czech Republic. Let's just take a Bolt back home. And so I was like, okay, well, we are in Terminal 2 at the Prague airport, which means nothing to anybody unless they've actually been to the Prague airport. Terminal 1, there's like a Bolt or Uber pickup, like a kind of across the street from where you enter the terminal. But in Terminal 2, it's upstairs. Now, my wife has never picked up a Bolt from Terminal 2 before. And typically when we pick them up in Terminal 1. And it's like, hey, the Terminal 2 Bolt pickup is on the second floor. We have to go upstairs. And she's like, no, no, it's not. Like, make sure, like, okay, whatever. So I'm getting like, look, I'm trying to show her on the phone, like, look, we have to go upstairs, blah, 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 blah. It's like, fine. So it was a little bit of like, it wasn't tense, but it was like, hey, woman, believe me. What's wrong with you, lady? We got to go upstairs. Like, why are you making a big deal out of this? Anyway, so I'm not, let's say, in my right frame of mind, or I'm not thinking through everything the way that I should be thinking through everything. Knowing that we have to go upstairs, right in front of us is an escalator. And so I'm like, let's just get on the escalator and go upstairs. Okay. Now, this escalator is one where it has like the little pole which in front of it, and I don't understand the purpose of the little pole in any escalator. Have you ever seen one of these? Like it's not like
Yeah.
it's like a double wide escalator. It's like two people wide escalator, but then they have like the little pole at the base of it, at the bottom of it. So I don't know what the purpose of that. Do you know what the purpose of that little pole is? Is
Prevent
it some
shop
like
prevent shopping carts from going on the escalator. It's
I don't think that's a problem at the airport. I don't
shopping
really
cart. Well,
know.
no, it's the luggage carts. They don't want people with
Oh, that
luggage
makes okay. That's
carts.
fine. That's fine. Like, okay, that's okay. Well, the pole didn't deter me from trying to get both of my roller and my checked bag and my golf bag on the escalator at the
Right.
same time. And
Right.
so again, I'm just being through, I'm not really thinking about it. It's like, hey, let's just go. So I maneuver the golf bag out up ahead of me. I was like, let's put this up first. I can hold it with my right hand right in front of me or whatever. And then I'll tote behind me my two other bags, my roller and my check bag. So I maneuver my way through around the little pole at the base of the escalator. I have the golf bag up on a step and I'm holding it with my right hand. As I try to maneuver the other two bags on the stair behind me and hold them there. Two things happen simultaneously as the escalator starts to go up. The golf bag starts falling backwards. So
Mm.
it's a hard top, but then it has like a soft body. And so this thing just kind of starts folding under its own weight or whatever. So it starts pushing me backwards.
Yeah.
At the same, you can see where this is going.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
At the same time, my two bags behind me were not on the step. They were kind of like a halfway, partially on the step. And I am now trying to lift both of them. One of them is 50 pounds on the dot because my wife and I do a very good job at measure. We know exactly, we've traveled a lot. We know exactly how much we can fit into a suitcase or how we use it. So we have 50 pounds. And then my carry-on is also probably about 50 pounds. I try to shove as much as I can in that thing as well. So I'm trying to carry 100 pounds behind me as my golf bag is starting to collapse on top of me. I don't make it. Now, this is an important part of the story is remember, my golf bag was in front of me. My two bags were behind me. Okay. I collapse over, I lose my balance while the escalator is going up. I try to step over my two bags going backwards. I do not find footing and I just take a tumble. All right.
How far up the
You think
escalator were you?
at this point in time, about a third of the way or so.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is something that I learned as I was continually falling down the escalator. With stairs, there's a bottom to the stairs. Like you eventually stop falling. Okay. On an escalator, because it keeps going, you fall continually. And so
This is the equivalent. This is the equivalent of the people in the movies who fall into the black abyss and just keep falling. That's
just
just
keep
the
going
equivalent.
forever. This is it. Like I am continually falling on this escalator and I go shoulder first, like shoulder and face first, pretty much into the steps and then I just keep rolling. At one point in time, like my feet are in the air. My feet are in the air. My face and my shoulder are just getting like hit, like step by step as I'm sliding down the stair. I'm sliding down. I'm not sliding down anything. I'm just staying in one spot as the stairs just kind of go underneath me. And I keep getting hit over and over and over again. And I can hear my wife. This is the crazy thing. It's like I'm fully aware this entire time. It's almost like time slowed down. And I'm like, yeah, I'm watching all of this happen and I'm fully aware of what's going on. My wife is at the bottom of the escalator, and there's like a airport employee there who was like cleaning gunk off the floor or something like that. And my wife's freaking out. She sees this like this absolute catastrophe that's unfolding before her, seeing me just getting pummeled by getting manhandled by an escalator. She's witnessing this and she looks at the hotel, or she looks at the, sorry, hotel, the airport employee, and she's like, is there a stop button? She starts to like, is there a stop button to the escalator? Where's this at? And I say to her, I hear her say, is there a stop button? And I say to her, as the steps keep hitting me, I go, I'm fine. I say, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's okay. It's definitely not okay.
This is the
Like,
great. This is the greatest. Okay, keep
yeah,
going.
well, hold on. I'm almost done. So this keeps going for, again, time stop. So it was about an eternity that I'm just getting hit by stairs as I fall down the escalator or whatever. Okay, I told you the golf bag I had tried to place in front, it had did place in front of me. My other two bags were behind me. By the time it was all said and done, I eventually was able to push myself up. I'm able to stand up and everything. The golf bag is at the bottom of the escalator. It had slid all the way down past me. My two other bags, my check bag and my roller, are at the top of the escalator.
That's great. That's great.
I'm fine.
I'm
I'm
fine.
fine.
Well,
So
okay.
one of the
Knowing you.
reasons, one of the reasons I am wearing a tank top is to show you the damage here. You
Oh
can
my
see, I don't
goodness.
know if they, yeah, I don't know. You can see step by step.
Yeah.
Every step is just hitting me. Going
Wow.
here. This was bleeding pretty bad. I mean, I get to the top of the steps and my elbow is just mangled. I mean, I'm bleeding pretty bad. Uh, and I'm still like, not my wife again. Alyssa is just are you okay? Do we need to get you help? I am laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
I am just like, that had to look awesome.
Yes.
And I'm looking around to see if I can find airport security to be like, hey, can I get the footage of that? Because that just had to be hilarious. And there wasn't too many people around, but anybody who was watching just had to be like, oh my gosh,
Okay.
this is
Well,
the greatest thing that's happening to
a
me
couple
today.
things. A couple things. Because
Yeah.
if you, first of all, there are a lot of funny things about this story. One of them, I can hear, just knowing Andy the way that I do, I can hear him in
Yeah.
response
I'm
to his wife,
fine. I'm
very
fine.
indignant, a very indignant. I'm fine.
I remember that was still with face down on an escalator stair, face and shoulder, just getting pummeled by an escalator. I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Now, I thought you were gonna go because Alyssa is she has a very dry sense of humor and she's just very calm
Yeah.
all the time.
She's
It's
very calm. Like
yeah.
my wife is the greatest for many reasons, but one thing is she's very calm. She never overreacts to anything.
When you said she was watching this, I thought, and now she's a loving wife, so of course she's gonna be concerned about you. But part of me wanted you to go.
Oh,
She
she's
was
got to be
she
laughing.
was she was seeing this and going, yeah, that's the guy that I
Yeah.
married.
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. 100. I mean, she does that all the time anyway. But that was definitely a moment where she was like, yeah, it's my husband.
Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
gonna go. She was watching this and she just said, "Hot dog."
That's my man. She
Yeah.
always says, that's my man.
Um,
Hot dog.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean there are going to be plenty of stories about Andy and travel woes. He
Being an
travels so
idiot.
much but it
Yeah.
is like he travels a lot, and so more travel things happen to him just by virtue of the fact that he travels so much.
Right.
But there does seem to be an inordinate amount
Larger
of
sample size.
there does seem to be an inordinate amount of problems for Andy and his
Yeah.
travels. Like it
Yeah.
seems to be
I don't think
he
we've
seems to
even
be
told
heading.
the I don't
Yeah,
think we've
we
told
haven't
the
seen the kid,
Cancun
and we're not
story
going
yet,
to.
which
We're not going
not
to.
for this
Yeah,
podcast, but
yeah.
that one's got to be on the list
Well,
sometime in the future. In fact, maybe we tease that one for next week of, is that my bag? Is that
yeah,
my
yeah.
stuff?
That was wow. That's a story, everybody.
That
That's
one's,
a
yeah,
story.
all right, we're telling that one should be the open
Well,
for next week. That's
real
fine.
quick, just because it. Well, first of all, I'm going to write a letter to Eddie. I mean, I don't need to. I can call him, but I'm going to write a letter and just say that we need a little bit of more money. Not that he gave us much, but we're going to need a little bit more money just to have a film crew follow Andy specifically during transit because I think it
Yeah.
might be worth it. I
Oh,
think,
it is endless entertainment.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's going to play to a wide demographic. I mean, I think everybody likes seeing somebody just tragically fail at just about everything and
I mean,
have just
yeah,
disaster strike at every turn. I think that plays across a lot of demographics for
and
sure.
I think it'd be a fun creative thing of we have said, airports are the places where people probably get the most disgusting. Like in terms of just humans interacting with humans, the airport is where you find
Oh,
some
it's hell.
really
Airports
horrible
are hell
things.
on earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
as much as I've already established, I love my wife a lot, and she's very calm and again, dry sense of humor, doesn't talk a lot, just very calm. That is the one place where her inner monster just comes out. I
and
think that happens to a lot of people.
that's
Yeah.
where a lot of people, yeah, it's a stressful situation for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But to introduce you and your experiences, I think would add an opportunity for levity in these stressful proceedings and really give
Oh,
people,
I
I
am a
think,
comedy of errors at an
yeah,
airport.
I think if we
Absolutely.
can introduce a little comedy into the airport, I think that's a really good use of
Yeah.
funds. Lastly, I was just thinking about this while you're telling the story. Like, where did this all begin? Because I start to think the start of your bad luck in travel may have been
Which, by
college.
the way, pause real quick. In Venezuela, I had a nickname. I didn't come up with it. It was given to me by my colleagues. My nickname is Bad Luck Andy.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna. Well, separately, was it Branch Rickey? Was it Branch Rickey who said, uh, "Luck is the residue of design"?
It's something along those lines. Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that that's the saying. I just can't remember if it was Branch Rickey or
Then
not.
yes,
But
it was Branch Rickey. Yes.
that saying lends itself to the the next
I have
logical step.
designed my life poorly
Well,
so
no, no,
that I
no.
am, it's just filled with bad luck.
No, no, no. I was gonna say if that's the saying for good luck, then it stands to reason that
That I haven't
ba
designed it at all. No, I think
bad
either you
luck
can design it for bad luck or there's
bad
no design at all.
bad luck is the result of no design or lack of design. Which again, if you know Andy, very structured, very
Yep.
like,
Highly organized.
and so
Yeah.
it's just funny that bad luck follows you wherever you go, just because
Bad
you
penny.
are highly
Yeah.
designed. So Branch Rickey, you're wrong. I'm sorry.
I am living proof that Branch Rickey is wrong.
But I was thinking back as like, where did this all start? And I'm sure you probably have an instance before this, but I go back to Colorado, and
Oh,
I
another
go
good
back,
story. We got to tell that one too.
I go back to our
The
road
parking
trip
lot.
to Colorado with Stephen Buss in the Jetta,
Just an
and
idiot.
we were in Boulder. We were visiting
Yeah.
Colorado University or University of Colorado, whichever one it is. And Andy, we were about to leave. We had a good day exploring Boulder, beautiful city. And he's just like, yeah, we're just gonna pull forward out of the parking lot. There was a median in the parking lot.
Yeah.
He ran over the curb and the car
Yeah.
went down and there was a bunch of rocks and we just got stuck for three
Yep.
hours while we waited for AAA to have
Yes.
to come and get the car just because Andy pulled forward 5 feet.
Yeah. All of that is
Even though
true.
I told him from the
It
back
was
seat, I said,
quite a
don't pull
deceptive.
forward.
Well, I
Don't
I
pull
don't know if
forward.
that's true. If you and Steven were yelling at me, what are you doing? I don't remember that part. Anyway, it was a very deceptive parking lot where it looked as if like you could just pull forward, like and just kind of go out that way. No, there was like a chasm. There was like a cliff that I had like parked right on, apparently. And when I pulled forward, I went off of this cliff, and the car, it was like a cartoon. Like our car is just like hanging there
Teetering. It's
precipitously.
teetering
Yeah,
on
just
the curb.
teetering over this like this couple foot gap. I
I
was
can
like, what?
still
Where did that come from?
I can
Like
still
the
hear
maw
Steven.
of hell just opened up and swallowed, or at least was trying to swallow our car. And
If,
so the genius idea that I have is like, well, we're a little stuck. Let's get out and try to lift the car out. This is a 5-ton vehicle. 3 college students or around there can't lift a vehicle
yeah,
out of like this hole. So yeah, we had to call trip. I mean, thankfully Steven had AAA, and so we called AAA. Now, granted, I think there was only like one AAA truck that was servicing all of Colorado or maybe the Western United States at
yeah.
that point in time. And so yeah, we waited about 4 days before that thing came out there. And then that guy had to be laughing his butt off to be like, you just want me to tow you literally a foot to go over like this little bump that you can't get over. Okay, man. Yeah.
I can still hear Steven's voice. Andy, Andy, Andy. Whoa,
Yeah.
Andy, Andy.
Yeah. That was a mistake. That was my fault.
That was the same trip that
You're right. We might pinpoint my bad luck in travel experiences maybe to that.
that was the same trip that squirrel committed suicide in Iowa, and that was really sad. But that was me. I think I was driving at that point. But
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Um,
all
on
to
that
say,
trip, on that trip, that is the only time I've ever fallen asleep at the wheel. We ent-
another Stephen Bus, Andy, Andy, whoa,
yeah,
Andy moment.
that was
Now,
another
now,
Andy, whoa,
but
Andy.
if you've ever driven west through Nebraska and into Colorado, if you've driven west,
It's
it is a tough slog. Like,
it actually wasn't. I mean, Nebraska was fine. I mean, we had driven through the night. I was driving the graveyard shift, and so I think I was going from about 11 at night, maybe midnight, and it was 6 in the morning. I remember
yeah,
like on the clock, 6 in the morning. I'm finally starting to feel it. We had stopped for gas at like 2 or 3 in the morning. 6 in the morning after a 3 hour stint, I am just fading. And I remember starting to dream. I was dreaming about like an episode of Scrubs.
yeah.
I was like in the episode of like I remember dreaming. And then yeah, Steven thankfully was awake because I had drifted off the road. He just very
We were on the
calmly took the
rumble
wheel.
strips, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
very calmly took the wheel. I
yeah,
was like, all right, it's time for somebody else to drive now.
if you've made that drive though, it's you're going through Nebraska, and Nebraska for people who like corn, which we do, it's actually kind of it's nice. I don't it's long.
I I like Nebraska a lot. I think
Yeah.
Nebraska gets a very bad reputation. I worked out there. Our cousin Mandy was working at a camp in Nebraska, and I went out there to work for 2 straight summers, and I loved it. Actually,
Yeah.
Nebraska is very beautiful, especially if you get off the highway. It's a little more hilly than what people think. There's some lakes. Nebraska is very beautiful.
The
I would
problem
say
is
the eastern edge of
that's what I was going
Colorado,
to go to.
that's where it
Right.
becomes, I was going to say, it becomes a barren wasteland that is just flat
The
and there is
first
absolutely nothing.
the first half of Colorado before you get to Denver, which
To
Denver
the
is basically in
Rockies,
the
yeah.
middle of the state, like
Yeah.
until the Rockies start, it is nothing. It's
The Eastern
nothing.
Plain is
And
a
so
barren
it
wasteland.
is a
Yeah.
hard and the extra problem is the road is incredibly straight. Like
Yes. You
it
can
is
see it for days.
it is an
Yes.
arrow that is just going straight down. And so it's one of these things of
Yep.
like you're not having to pay attention when you drive as much because there are no curves. There's nothing that you need to really plan for. You're
No,
just there.
you're
And
just
you're
there.
and it's
You're there and you're going. That's
yes.
it.
So
Yeah.
not to defend Andy risking all of our lives, but that's a
Right.
tough drive. So
Yeah.
all right, well, I think we've appropriately teased that this podcast is going to lay bare many travel incidents in the future. But yeah, that was a good story,
Yeah.
and Andy has the war marks to
I got
prove it.
I
He'll
got
be
the
going to
scars to prove it.
he'll be going to the
Yeah.
gun show, physical therapies, and yeah,
Well, the funny thing, okay, sorry, one more add on to this. I go to a physical therapy appointment yesterday, and she has me like take off my shirt. I got back problems, so I have to always take off my shirt from physical therapy. And she goes, "Whoa, what happened there? What do you say?" I fell down an escalator.
yeah, I don't know. There's not really much you can do there. All
Yeah.
right, great. So to sports and the wonderful wide world of sports. The most, obviously the biggest thing that's happened in the past week since we talked last was the trade deadline. I think both you and I said, please don't send Tarek Skubal to the Dodgers, and that's what happened. We also said the
Yeah.
Tigers were dead. The Tigers don't appear to be dead. We're going to get to kind of a baseball second half preview in the third half of this show, but let's talk. Obviously, the biggest news is Tarek Skubal to the Dodgers. And because I live in California, because I work where I do, and because this episode is sponsored by Legends Attic and Oral Hershiser Chevrolet, obviously I'm around Dodger fans quite a bit. And so I think a conversation finally needs to be had about the Dodgers and about what they're doing to baseball and about just reactions to this specific trade. Um, I've definitely got thoughts. We're going to get canceled after this episode.
Yeah.
And I I don't think it's a secret that Andy and I are not Dodger fans. I don't. We've said that already on this
We've made
podcast.
that blatantly
We
obvious.
we
The
are.
fact that we only talk about the Cubs and can
Yeah.
only knowledgeably speak about the Cubs, it definitely lends itself to letting the viewer and the listener know where our allegiances lie. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I'll get into my caveats because I actually think there's a misconception about me in particular and about amongst the people that I work with and my friends of just like how much I hate the Dodgers. I don't. There's a lot of things I don't hate about the Dodgers, and there are a lot of players I like on the Dodgers. But this is a for the good of baseball conversation, and that's where
Yeah.
I think a lot of my
We
animosities
always we
lie.
always zoom out. You and I always become a little bit more philosophical and
Yeah.
look at the meta. Look at kind of the let's zoom out. Let's take a look at what this does in the bigger picture, in the grand scheme of things.
So setting the stage here, Tarek Skubal, two-time Cy Young Award winner for the past 2 years for the Detroit Tigers. His contract is up after this season. He got traded. He is the best pitcher in baseball. He got traded to the Dodgers for Zaire Hope, Braden Smith, and River Ryan. Um, Zaire Hope is like the 25th ranked prospect in MLB. River Ryan has been actually in the major leagues. He's pitched well, and a lot of the
Yeah.
Dodger. I think a lot of the Dodger, faithful really like River Ryan. He's pitched well for them even in the major leagues. And then Braden Smith I hadn't heard of, but they're all. I think they're all actually River Ryan and Zaire Hope are top 100 prospects. I don't think Braden Smith was,
They are.
but
No.
it's there's been a lot of talk about did the Tigers get enough back in the trade. Obviously, again, Tarek Skubal's a rental, so that factors in. Andy, do you just want to give your initial thoughts on the trade itself, and then we can broaden out?
My initial reaction was, wow. And I think I even said it to you of, did the Tigers not ask for anything? Like, honestly, I imagine this phone call being like the Dodgers call up Scott Harris, the GM of the Tigers, and be like, hey, is Scooble available? And Scott Harris is like, yep. And the Dodgers go, well, what do you want for him? And Scott Harris just goes, whatever. And so like that, like they just throw a few guys' name in the ring. Like that was my initial impression. And I was kind of going, this is a joke. This is almost like borderline conspiratorial. Like there's something bigger going on of just the Tigers giving away Scooble for these guys when it seems as if they could have gotten a much larger haul from the Dodgers themselves, from the Brewers, or from the Rays. Those three teams were in contention for Scooble. Both of them are locked and loaded with prospects, great farm systems, each one of them. And so you would have thought that even if they're not going to give away their number one guy, like some bigger names might have been able to be moved for Scooble. All right. And so that was my initial impression. And I am in the camp of like, this is ridiculous. Scott Harris is an idiot. If you're a Tigers fan, you have to call for this guy to be fired, all that stuff. And then I read a story of him on ESPN, and I'm going to quote him. I got it pulled up here. I'm going to pull up the quotes from Scott Harris after he gets a whole bunch of criticism
Yeah.
for this move.
Yeah.
All right. So sorry, this is a little bit of a longer quote, but I'm going to read what Scott Harris says. He goes, we came into this very well prepared. We came into this with a firm idea of the type of deal that we wanted to ultimately land, and we had a deep understanding of what every organization had to offer. Before I continue, one thing we have to note for context here is this deal was made the Saturday before the Monday's final day of the trade deadline. So this is actually a couple days that this deal before the deadline that this deal is being made. A lot of the criticism came from you could have kind of stretched this out a little bit, kind of had a little bit of a bidding war. You could have had kind of inflated the asking price through a bidding war if you had extended this a little bit longer. To that, Scott Harris says, I think there is a unique dynamic with a player like Tarek Skubal. Markets at the deadline for the top players are just different than the rest of the market. So I understand the intuition that, hey, you're supposed to wait until the very last second on a deal and then pull a trigger at the very last second to maximize a return. That's not how markets for the top players work. And I immediately go, what? What other trade, like massive trade deadline acquisitions like happened days before. And so I looked it up and we talked about this on the podcast of what are some bigger names that were moved at the trade deadline in the past 10 years. I'm going to go to Trey Turner and Max Scherzer to the Dodgers from the Natties. When did it happen? What day of the deadline? The last day of the deadline. So Andrew Miller to Cleveland in 2016. Big acquisition. Last day of the deadline. The Juan Soto and Josh Bell to the Padres in 2022. Last day of the deadline. There are a couple of instances you can point to. Yes, Manny Machado went to the Dodgers 2 weeks almost before the deadline, before the actual final day of the deadline. And then also Aroldis went to the Cubs a couple days before the deadline. So sure, you can point to a couple of instances, but Scott Harris just saying, well, that's not how this market works for the biggest names in the trade deadline. All he's trying to do is deflect criticism, and that point doesn't make sense at all. And I'm just going, no, man, I don't think you know how this works. Right. That was my line of thinking until right before we started recording. Jeff Passan had an article out about how the Dodgers deal went down. And he kind of goes through, here's, a couple days before, here's Saturday, what it all looks like, the Tigers taking offers and everything. To be honest, it looks as if the Dodgers did offer the Tigers probably the best possible package they were going to get. And no amount of inflated bidding war was going to move the needle for either the Brewers or Tampa. Tampa didn't really have, as Passan lays out, Tampa really didn't have the pieces that the Tigers were looking for. Two of their top three prospects are catchers. With Dingler there, and Dingler probably a mainstay for the Tigers at the catcher position for years to come, like Tampa's really not offering that. And Tampa's number one guy, I can't remember his name, he's an outfielder. He was off the table. The same for the Brewers with Jesus Maeda, however you say his name. So the number one guys are off the table. After that, it just becomes like, okay, well, what do you need? And it does, as Passan lays out in this very recent article. He says, look, the Dodgers actually probably offered the Tigers the best possible package for the Tigers. Some of these guys slot in right away. Zaire Hope can play right now.
Yeah.
The Tigers have the Tigers have an okay farm system. They got some guys who can play right away right now too. The Tigers are actually setting up to be pretty good. This deal might have been the best possible world for the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
And so now after being kind of poo-pooing Scott Harris and being very down on this deal initially, I'm kind of coming around to, in the past 30 minutes after reading this article, I'm kind of coming around to maybe this wasn't the worst thing in the world. I understand why the Tigers did this. Is it bad for baseball? Sure.
Well, let's get there in a second. Let's get there in a second because I think there's a couple of things. So, yeah, I'll actually defend Scott Harris a little bit there because I too thought something was weird about the deal when I first saw it. River Ryan hasn't pitched a whole lot
No,
within the last 2 years.
a lot
And
of
so that,
injuries. He had a Tommy Johns, and I think he's had maybe some hamstring issues, or there's something else going on this year that's limited his innings. But when he has pitched, he is the comp that Passan gave was he's Jacob deGrom. He has a
he's really
pitch.
good. He's really
This
good.
guy hurling it. Like he
Yeah.
is rushed up there at 100. He's just good. He's a little bit older, but I think in an off-camera conversation that you and I had is maybe 27, 28 is kind of the new 23 with pitchers. I do see it after these guys, they're going to blow out their arm. Everybody has Tommy Johns now. But kind of after they do that, you are seeing some guys who are pitching a little bit later than normal or a little bit later than they used to maybe. I'm going to throw out a weird example here is Colin Ray. Colin Ray shouldn't be a starter at whatever he is, 35, 36, 30, whatever Colin Ray is. Like, and dude's slinging it. Like, Colin Ray's fine. He's serviceable.
He's
A
slinging
lot
it
of
for
these guys,
4 2/3 every
Gossman's
game.
35, 36.
He's
Like,
36.
yeah, these guys are pitching a little bit later into their careers. And so getting Ryan at, is he 27, 28? You might still have about 6 or 7 years of good pitching in that arm.
Yeah, I think and Zaire Hope is like, the Zaire Hope was a Cubs prospect. They traded him to get Michael Bush, and Yancy Almonte, I think, was at part of the trade as well. Zaire Hope's like third or fourth in the rosters or in the Dodgers farm system in terms of outfielders. So
Outfielders. But Hassan said the Dodgers farm system is so good that he would be the one or two outfield prospect for just about any other team.
yeah.
So
So
that's
and
where it's
we'll get
like
to that
as
point. We'll get to that point in just a second too. I think to your point of like Scott Harris saying, "Hey, this trade market is different," and for the top players, as the evidence that you outlined, the evidence suggests that that's not the case. But as we've talked
no.
about previously on this podcast, is like this trade deadline is a little bit weird. Maybe the last few trade deadlines have been a little bit weird because with the expansion of the playoffs, there have been a number of teams, and particularly this year, there's just so many teams. I looked at the wild card
Yeah.
standings. The AL, the last wild card spot, there are still like six teams within a
Yeah.
game and a
Oh,
half
anybody. Yeah,
of
anybody's
within the game of the half of
Twins.
the
The Twins are half a game out at this point in time.
and I think Jed Hoyer talked about this on the broadcast during the Dodger series of like it was a little bit hard to tell who was selling and who was buying just because
Yeah,
everybody was bunched up. And so
we've
to
talked
that,
about it. Is the
yeah,
market has shrunk. The market has shrunk at the deadline because now every team thinks they're in it.
yeah. And I think that
In,
that
in,
that
a, in
lends
a
itself.
normal year, the Twins would have been, and sorry, in a non-expanded playoff year, prior to 2022, I think is when they expanded it. The Twins would have been a seller.
Yeah,
Buxton might have been on the market. Joe Ryan definitely would have been on the market. Ryan Jeffers possibly. The Twins would have been sellers
yeah,
in any other, and now they're picking up. They didn't pick up a lot. AJ Minter, pardon, but they're buyers where again in a non-expanded playoff format they're selling. They don't
yeah.
have a shot.
So I think in that sense, I think Scott Harris may have a leg to stand on of just like maybe and the one theory that was floated about this trade that could lend itself. Now I don't know if I'm buying the theory, but one theory that was floated was Tarek Skubal told the Tigers like don't send me to anybody but the Dodgers because
Right,
I
about the
intend to send
Dodgers.
with the Dodgers.
I
And so
want yes, yeah.
that if he in
It's
fact did
definitely
that,
possible.
if he in fact
Definitely
did
possible.
that, then Scott Harris's hand is basically forced, and it
Right.
doesn't really matter about fielding more offers because you just go and get the guy, and then you reset and you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that, but it's something to consider. The other
Why
theory,
not? I mean, why? I mean, if you're Tarek Skubal, and Skubal is almost like a Max Scherzer level intense.
yeah,
He wants to win, and that's what I want in a player as well. I want greatness. I want you to want to win, and that's Skubal. If you're looking at your situation going, if the Dodgers want me, I want to go to the Dodgers because I want to win a World Series. I want to win multiple World Series. If I'm Skubal, I'd I'd be like, yeah, send me to the
well,
Dodgers.
and the other thing that factors into this is like Tarek Skubal wants a new deal. And if
Yeah.
he believes that the Dodgers are the one team willing to give him a new deal prior to this CBA negotiation, that could
Yep.
factor in. He could go, look, I want to secure my new deal before money becomes more
Right.
scarce.
Right.
I want
Which
to
if you're
get
the
that.
Dodgers, you're probably not going to get shell out $400 million. But if there's any team that would do it,
It's
yes,
the
it would be the
Dodgers.
Dodgers because they don't
So
care.
there,
Money's not an
there's
object.
there could have been that factor playing into Tarek's decision. Whether he did or did ask for a trade directly to the Dodgers, we don't know. I don't know if we'll
Yeah.
ever know. That's beside the point. But the other theory that was floated, and I think even you floated it to me, and I've heard that not just from you, from others, is like, did the Tigers send Tarek Skubal to the Dodgers on purpose to reinforce or strengthen the this is unfair
The owner's
narrative?
position.
Yes.
The owner's position that, hey, look it, we cannot compete.
And I
Now,
don't and
let me be
just to,
very
well, hold
clear.
on, hold on. To add to that real quick.
Yeah.
It's really hard. The media landscape, I think we've talked about it in this podcast before, is difficult. I think Jeff Passan is the most reliable in the fact that he said in the article
Passan's
today, like, hey, this is probably the best offer. There have been stories that have come out in the last 3 days that I've seen two stories, and again, I don't know how reputable these sources are, and this is why it's like it's hard right now. Two stories saying Brewers' offer was better, Tampa's offer was better. But for Jeff Passan to say, no, 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 I trust Jeff Passan. So don't believe everything you read on the internet, but go ahead and flesh
All
out
I
your
was going to
theory.
say is this podcast will only lightly dabble in conspiracy theories, but only like the real ones, the not
That is
conspiracy.
that is not true at all. You better wait 15 minutes because I'm gonna be spouting some crazy conspiracy theories in just a second about the Dodgers. So
So even though I brought that up, I myself am not a firm believer in that. I don't think there's some cabal that's trying to manipulate all of this on the owner's side. I'm just saying here is a narrative that could get picked up on the interwebs
yeah,
and be
it did.
spouted somewhere
It
as
did get
yeah.
picked up. It did get picked up, and like I said, I don't. It would seem to me that that argument has already been made, and I don't know if giving Tarek Skubal away really strengthens anything. Now, so that's general thoughts on the trade itself. I think there, obviously, the conversation that follows is the larger Dodger villainy conversation, and this is where we need to buckle in because it might get a little bit bumpy here for me.
It's gonna get a little hairy.
And so,
Gonna get a little hairy. Yeah.
I,
Adam's gonna get fired.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm definitely gonna get fired. Um, Andy, just from a how do you feel
Passing the
about
buck
this
because
the
he doesn't
state?
want to come out
I would
out
rather you
right
start.
away.
I would rather you start because I'm gonna go on a rant, and
Yeah, and
I'm gonna shoot
I'm just going to be sitting
flamethrowers.
here for the next 45 minutes just listening to you. So I might as well get a word in edgewise now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why don't you
Are
go ahead
your
and start?
question? I'm gonna cut you out. Your question is, are the Dodgers ruining baseball? Like, has this completely sunk Major League Baseball because the Dodgers now have Scooble? Okay. Before I answer that question, let me say this. Um, in the micro, Scooble goes out and pitches his first game as a Dodger against our Chicago Cubs, and he's going up against Javi Assad. I'm going to make this conversation about the Cubs
The
and
ass
Javier
man.
Assad instead of Scooble. Okay. I say to Alyssa, I said, watch this. Javi Assad is going to outpitch Tarek Scooble on Tuesday. Now, he didn't outpitch him.
No.
Scooble lost the game. Javi Assad won the game. They went the same amount of innings. I think it was like 5 1/3, 5 2/3, something like that. Javi Assad hung with Tarek Skubal. He was right there, punch for punch, with Tarek Skubal. My question has nothing to do with Tarek Skubal and everything to do with Javi Assad and why the Cubs disrespect that guy so much. How is Javi Assad, who the Cubs are 9-1 in his 10 starts, how is Javi Assad not like your front end rotation guy? Why do they keep sending him down to AAA? After he pitched on Tuesday, I said to Alyssa, I go, watch, he'll be optioned to Iowa tomorrow. That's the thanks that the Cubs keep giving. Didn't make the playoff team.
He did. I was going to say the playoff roster last year.
Didn't make the squad against the Brewers. It's like, that's the first dude I would have thrown against the Brewers.
Yeah.
They hadn't seen him. They weren't familiar with it. Like, what are you doing? Well, I want to know. I'll get to the Scooble bit in a second, but I want to know what is up with the Cubs and their relationship with, I think, is their best pitcher. Javi Assad goes out there and does exactly what you want him to do. He wins baseball games. Is that not what you're supposed to do?
I love that this has turned into an ass man conversation. I love Javier Assad.
And we both love Javi Assad.
Okay, here's the thing.
Why doesn't the Cubs front office see Javi Assad the way that we see him?
I just want to point out one thing here. We have seen Javier Assad be good. We have seen Javier Assad be bad. There is a chance.
Of course, he's going to throw some clunkers every now and then. Yes.
Right. There's a chance, though. There's a chance. And I've said on this podcast, and everybody knows, I am not the fan. I'm not a fan of Jed Hoyer. But is it possible that he's 9-1 because they're managing his workload perfectly. Have they figured out Javier Assad? Have they gone
Well,
like they know they're so in tune with Javier Assad, like they're
yeah.
so in tune with his rhythm of his life, like they can predict to a
They
T.
know when to send them up, or they know when to send them down. They
They
know when
know
to bring them up.
exactly when to pitch
They know
him.
the spot starts. It's like this start Thursday afternoon game.
Yeah.
That's a Javi Assad start right
He
there.
had
Well,
this
I
for
always say
he
my
had this for
theory
dinner
about
last
how you
Thursday.
ingratiate what?
He had this for dinner last Thursday, so we're gonna pitch
Yeah.
him on Wednesday.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be
They are so
amazing.
in tune, right? With his daily habits, it's fine. I mean, I always say the way that you ingratiate yourself to people, make them like you, is limited exposure.
Yeah.
Don't give up too much.
Yeah.
Just little small snippets, bite-sized pieces of yourself, and people will be like, "Yeah, Andy's great." It's because you don't know me all that well. You
Yeah, get to know him. Travel
It's
with him.
because honestly, because I give you a 5 minute segment of me at my best, and then I leave. Like that's
Yeah.
the Javi Assad like
And that's where
strategy here is
this
just little snippets.
this could be the Colin Ray Javi Assad approach for the Cubs. It's just we're not going to give you too much because if you get too much of them, you're going to get really upset. So I'm opening the door to the possibility that the Cubs know exactly how to use Javier Assad, and that's the
Okay.
reason why we don't see
That's
more.
the reason why he's so good.
Yeah,
Because if he were out there every fifth day, we wouldn't be sitting here singing his praises,
we would be
going,
going
best
send
pitcher in the bigs.
send this guy
JP
down. What the
Wizarowski,
heck?
who? No, Javi Assad.
Well,
He only has 2 strikeouts a game, but dude just deals.
we're talking way too much about Javier Assad when we're supposed to be talking about the
But
Dodgers.
to talk
But
about Tarek
I will
Skubal,
say,
well,
I will
I
say
was going to
this.
say, can I put a pin in? Because this is part of the Cubs problem. This is going to be the second half of the show. The Cubs now have 8 starting pitchers, don't they?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, can we put a pin in and come back to that one? And I'll ask you
yeah.
a Skubal question, then you can go on a rant. We
No,
go
no,
to
no. Hold
break,
on,
and then
because I do have I
what?
do on Javi. His like getting out of jam rate. Now I'm sure there's a number for this, but like Javier
It's the
Assad
best. It's the
is the
best in the bit.
lucky.
Like,
They have been through this on the broadcast. Is Javier
yes,
Assad is the luckiest pitcher out there, and so I bet you this is like
not
an
luck.
actual. This is like an
Gil, what
actual
did
data
Branch
point,
Rickey say? What did Branch Rickey say?
which we proved him
Luck
wrong.
is a function of planning or whatever. Okay.
I
No, now
the amount of
Javi, if you want Javi Assad to be successful, load the bases.
yeah, he is
Actually,
amazing.
I would intentionally walk. I would say the first 3 batters you're facing, you're going to intentionally walk them, and then watch this
Watch
man work.
Javier. He is the best at getting out of jams. It is incredible. It is
Yes, they've shown the
incredible.
numbers. They've shown the number. We're
This
not
is
just
a
saying that because this is
no.
just
We're not exaggerating
this
here.
Javi
If you
Assad
watch
statue.
Javier
No,
Assad,
the numbers bear this out. He is the very best in the game at getting out of jams, at spots of bother,
and
at
so
points of crisis,
you
whatever
point
the
at
phrase
that.
JD use.
You point at that and you go, the Cubs front office may be going, we cannot allow a regression to the mean by putting him out there too much.
Yeah.
And so we just have to pick our spots. So that's the capper. We'll come back to the Cubs pitching staff later in the show. But
Yeah.
quick note about just the specifics of the Dodgers games. I've heard people before we move on to Tarek Skubal. Game 2, Javier Assad versus Tarek Skubal. Kyle Tucker got some flack for base running, and I've heard some Dodger fans criticize his base running and not picking his spot correctly. I just want to point out to those Dodger fans, he definitely should try to stretch for 2 on that play. I don't, are you remembering?
I don't know what play you're talking about, but
It was a fly ball to right. He hit it off the wall, right where the well kind of curves. He hit it off the wall. Now, again, Dodger fans, remember, Kyle Tucker played right field for the Cubs.
yes,
He knows how
very familiar with the confine.
He knows how balls generally carry him. And he knows, by the way, that if you hit it into the ivy, there's probably a 50% chance that the ivy is going to make the ball either get stuck
Absorb it.
or it's going to
Just
deflect
eat
in a
it.
weird way. Plus, where he hit it, right by the well, that ball can carry him any way it possibly can go. And so for him to try to stretch it into a 2-bagger at that point in the game, that is exactly what he should have done. Boog and JD said it. It was not a bad base running play. Like the fact that it carried him to Seiya Suzuki in the exact right way, and then Seiya made a pinpoint throw. That's like a 1 in 100 play. So don't get
Yeah.
mad at Kyle Tucker for that. You can get mad at Kyle Tucker for other things, but not that.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me
Terry
answer your Tarek
Skubal.
School.
Yeah,
Does
go
this
ahead.
ruin baseball? Like, I mean, come on. I really don't know how much this tips the needle. The Dodgers they were the favorites before. Obviously, they're now even more of the favorites. Um, Skubal has been very, very good this year. The numbers point to the ERA is up just a click, just a little bit. Um, he's still, he's obviously one of the best pitchers out there. But to be honest, I kind of they interviewed Scooble about, hey, what do you say to all the Dodgers haters out there? What do you say to all the people who are saying the Dodgers are ruining the game? This very conversation that we're having. And he goes, I was available for any team to come and get me, is what Scooble said. And I kind of take his point. It's like, if you want me, come and get me. The Dodgers wanted me. They offered the
Oh no.
package. And I'm kind
Mhm.
of going, yeah, a little bit.
No, come
And
on.
you
Oh my
can't.
goodness.
This is where I know we're going to disagree a little bit. And I know you were saying, like, look, there are things about the Dodgers that I really appreciate. I appreciate about the Dodgers their greatness, top to bottom. And we have referenced this before, is that is a well-run organization. Yes, money will help grease the skids a little bit, but it's because they do things the right way, top to bottom in that organization, that they have the farm system that they can put those pieces of the puzzle together and offer that to the Tigers. And so, does this ruin baseball? They've already ruined baseball. I think it's one of those. Well, are we in the middle of the collapse of civilization or the downfall? No, 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 no. Civilization already collapsed. The Dodgers have already ruined baseball. This isn't in the middle of it. We're now in the tunnel, in the dark tunnel after baseball has collapsed that we're in. Like, no, I don't think this necessarily changes anything. This is just a continuation of the narrative.
I agree with that point. I don't agree with the point of getting on board the Tarek Skubal any team could have had me thing. Yes, that is literally true. That is literally true that any team could have traded for him. However, that line, I'm fairly confident just because everyone parrots it. This comes from Dave Roberts. This comes from Tarek Skubal. This has come from Andrew Friedman. This, if you listen,
Anybody can do what we're doing. Yeah,
anybody,
I don't buy
this is the company line within the
that. Yep.
Dodgers, and that has been the company line for quite some time. And Dave
I
Roberts came
get
out
that.
and said it, and I want to point out that I really like Dave Roberts. I don't
I do
I
too.
I really like Dave Roberts, and
Dave's a good guy.
I think, and I don't even know if this is necessarily him or if it's Dodger PR just saying, hey, this is the line that we're going to use in this circumstance. Is anybody could have done this. I really like what Dave Roberts said after he said that. If you look at the quote, he said, any team could have done this. I just really love our front office. I think that's the line. I think that's the only line he needed is I really love our front office.
I really love our front office.
That's
They have a Scrooge McDuck type vault where they just open it up and swim in
yeah,
money.
yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
really love our front
if I were
office.
if I were if I were within Dodger PR, I would say that's the line. Is I love our front office. I love that we like to win. This line that I've now heard for years, going on years now, is any team can do this. You're missing
And
the
they
point.
can't.
You're missing the point
Yeah.
here, Dodger fans. This is where we're
No,
getting into the
I
rant.
get it.
This is where we get into the rant here, okay? Not
The
every
stage is
team.
yours.
This is
Go.
yes, again, let me say this. Literally any team could have made this single trade. There is that is true. But we're not, and this is the reason baseball fans around the country and around the world are angry at the Dodger fans is don't look at the single trade and say, "Oh, anybody can do this." This is a cumulative effect of all the moves that you've made.
Yep.
It is not a single move. You cannot speak to this trade and go, "Oh, well, any team could have done it." No, not don't you can't isolate this thing and go, "Oh, well, anybody could have done it." No, 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 no. We're mad at you because of all of the moves collectively,
Yeah.
cumulatively. That and
It's
when you say this, when you parrot this line, when Dave Roberts says it, when Tarek Skubal says it, and then all of you Dodger fans, when you all take to social media and you parrot this line, you sound arrogant because you're ignoring the fact that your team also signed Kyle Tucker to a $60 million contract, also traded for Mookie Betts, also signed Freddie Freeman, also signed Shohei Ohtani, also signed, like, you are ignoring the fact that there are 19 other things that your team did, and no other team can do all 20 things. That
Yeah.
is why we're annoyed at you, is because you are ignoring the fact that you do 20 things. And yes, any team can do the one thing, but you're the only team that can do 20 things.
Wouldn't
Got
do
it?
all of them. Right.
That's
It's
why
a
we're angry. That's why we're angry. Is
well, I'm not. You
no
are. Yeah,
team,
you're an angry elf right now, which
no
is
team can
great.
do
This is the
20
most
of those
fired
20
up I've
things.
seen you on this podcast, which is awesome. I
I'm
mean,
so
views are going to be
tired. I'm
clicking through
so
the roof. It's
tired
going
of
to be great.
Dodger fans. I'm so
And
tired of
I
Dodger fans parroting this line is, oh
gotcha.
yeah, any team can do this. No,
Yep.
no, you have more money than everybody else. Okay, I'm going to continue the rant here. I looked at,
Well, can I just add
go ahead, and
one
I'll
line
breathe
to
for a
your
second.
point?
Let me
Because
breathe.
yep. Okay, come on down just a bit. Anyway, the way that I'll phrase it, kind of in sum, a little bit of what you're going here is like it's scale. I liked how you said it's like when you isolate all of these things, you're right. This individual thing any other team could have done, but collectively, that's the whole scale part. We're missing the scale part. We're not talking about these individual moves. We're talking about the ecosystem, what you have done to the baseball ecosystem, and that ecosystem is a much broader thing. You have to zoom out, as we always say. We have to zoom out and see what is your place in the baseball ecosystem. No other team occupies the space the way that the Dodgers do. No other team has the resources that the Dodgers have. No other team can behave in the ecosystem the same way as any other team. So I think what you're getting at is just it's a scale problem. Don't look at the isolated instance. Don't use the microscope to look at this one little thing. You got to broaden it out and look at the larger ecosystem. And through that lens, the Dodgers are unique. The
Okay, and then
Dodgers occupy a different space, can do different things inside of the ecosystem that any other team can do.
let's dig into that. Okay, because the rebuttal to that from Dodger fans would be like, well, Mark Walter isn't even the richest owner. I looked up the richest owners in baseball. Steve Cohen is listed at
Cohen,
23 billion.
yes.
The
Steve Cohen's
the people who own the Blue Jays, the Rogers Communication Group, is
oh
worth
man, they're loaded.
$20 billion.
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah.
Next on the list, I think, was the Ricketts, owners of the Cubs. They're around
Oh, really?
$8.5 billion, I think was the
Okay.
number. And then fourth on the list was Mark Walter, who was around 7.8. Understand something. Mark Walter is the chairman of the Guggenheim Partners.
Group. Yeah. It's
Mark Walter gets listed as the owner of the
yeah.
Dodgers. The the
That's a little
Guggen,
smoke and
the
mirrors.
Guggenheim Group, the Guggenheim
Yeah.
Partners are the owner of the Dodgers. That's why
Yeah.
Magic Johnson is listed also. He's part of the group. Guess how much Steve Cohen, $24 billion. Guess how much the Guggenheim Partners are worth?
Oh, we gotta go hundreds of billions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 350.
It's above 250, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's reaching into that stratosphere.
300.
What,
300.
that's the listing is 250, but just
Yeah.
a point out, tenfold. The Dodger ownership group is worth tenfold what Steve Cohen, the richest owner in baseball, is. Okay. Now, you could say, oh, $1 billion here, $1 billion there. What?
We're talking about different realities at that
Well,
point in time.
hold on, because
It's the scale thing again.
the line is you should be mad. Dodger fans say you should be mad at your owners for not spending more money. It's easy to spend on somebody else's money. First of all, congratulations, Dodger fans, for spending somebody else's money. Way to go. Second of all, like, yes, I think if you talk to other fans and you talk to us, we will admit, like, we want Tom Ricketts to spend more money on the team. We have been upset in the past about them not spending as much money as they should, as we think they should on the team.
Yeah.
We are also spending other people's money. And by the way, you listen to Yankee fans, you listen to Red Sox fans, they're angry at their owners for not spending more money.
Yep.
People are mad at Hal
Everybody
Steinbrenner.
is.
Everybody's mad at their owner for not spending more money. So that's not the point either. Okay? The point is, let me get to the point. It's not just that the Guggenheim Group is worth $250 billion. These guys are all businessmen and they're looking at their individual situations. Should they be spending more money? Sure. But there is a cap. There is a realistic return on investment
Yeah.
for 29 teams that is lower, except for maybe the Yankees. I will separate the Yankees out. I think the Yankees have probably equal opportunity to monetize off of their brand that the Dodgers do. But those
Yep.
two teams are in a different stratosphere than the rest
Yep.
of the league. What
Yep.
I'm talking about is the more money that the Dodgers put in, they understand I'm going to put in X amount of dollars and I'm going to get this much back. I can get this much back. There was just a report last week. They're the first team ever to have $1 billion in revenue in a single season. Now, I think that number's a little soft, but it just goes to show like the Dodgers can monetize their brand. They have a higher what they have a higher ceiling in terms of how much money they can bring in
Yeah.
every season than every other team, and there's a lot of reasons for that. There's an attendance thing. They have the largest stadium in the MLB. They have
It's international brand.
their
Like,
geography. They are on the West Coast. They
yeah.
have Japan. They have the entire Japan
Yep.
market. They
The
have a
Latin
large
American
portion of
market.
the
No, no,
Latin American
it's
market.
international market. That's what's when you lump the Dodgers and the Yankees together, that's what I always go to. And I think I've said it before too, is like when I'm walking around, even in Prague, you actually see a lot of people wearing hats, and the hats will be one of two teams. It's either going to be the Yankees, that is now just a fashion statement, is to have a New York Yankees cap, but you will also equally see a lot of Dodgers caps as well. They have the market. They have the international market. There are no other teams that do.
They have the geographic advantage. They have a
Yep.
cultural advantage,
Being
just
closer. Yep.
the cultural weight of being in Los Angeles and the
Yep.
cultural weight of the historical weight of having a franchise of like the Dodgers, the Dodger name. That's a historic franchise. There's also
Yep.
the television thing, which that's been beaten to death. They have their own, RSNs are going bankrupt left and right. MLB is going to take over the rights. The Dodgers, the Cubs, the Yankees, the Red Sox, they all, and the Mets maybe are the only real teams that have their own station left that can make it. But guess what?
They
The Dodgers and the
profit.
Yankees are making the most off of their TV deals more than anybody
Yep.
else. So I bring all that up to say this. Now I'm getting to the point. Dodger fans,
Hmm.
do you think it's an accident that your team is the smartest team in baseball? Do you think that there's something in the water in Chavez Ravine? Do you think that is that they're like where do you think that came from? Where do you think your farm system came from? Where do you think your scouting department came from? Do you honestly think that there's just like a secret sauce in that's spread on the Dodger dogs that are disgusting
Yep.
and you
Yeah.
guys all are eating it and you guys are all just better than everybody else? No,
Yes.
that comes from
Oh,
having
sorry.
money. That comes from having money. I cannot. Yes, again, I'm going to repeat this. Should other owners be spending money on their teams? Sure. But to suggest that Tom Ricketts, $8.4 billion Tom Ricketts, is reasonably going to spend the exact same amount of money as the $250 billion Guggenheim Group
Not.
when his market availability is lower, that's not going to happen. Your scouting
Well,
department's smarter, your farm system is smarter, and your front office is smarter because you paid for it. Andrew Friedman was the smartest guy in baseball. He was
yep.
running
And you
the
went and got it.
he was
Yep.
running the poorest team in baseball, and guess what? You
Yep.
paid for him to come to the Dodgers and run. Yeah, it's absurd to
Which,
me that they think
well,
this is all an
hold on.
accident.
We need to go to break, and so I am a little leery of even asking these questions because we're just going to go down another rabbit hole here. But with the Friedman thing of running Tampa Bay, uh, it's an interesting point because a lot of times, and I'm only going to use one example for this, but I think sometimes you take a GM that's used to working in a small market and has worked magic in that small market, like an Andrew Friedman in Tampa, and you transplant them to a much larger market with oodles and bags of cash. And they aren't able to make it work. And the
David
example for that
Stearns.
would be David
David Stearns.
Stearns. David Stearns has had no success. In fact, been up until this point in time, it has kind of failed with the Mets. Going from the Brewers to the Mets just has not found a lot of success there. Um, And so the fact that Andrew Friedman was able to make that transition from small market, no money, to big market, lots of money, and they are as successful as they are, good on Andrew Friedman. The second thing is you're saying like, well, nobody else can compete and you have to have money. Your entire point is you have to have money to compete in baseball. And it's not that I'm going to disagree with you, but I am going to offer a counterpoint to that where it's if you look at the NL over the past, let's go past 8 years. In the NL, which two teams have been the most successful teams?
The Brewers and the Dodgers.
Okay. One of those teams has an unlimited supply of money that translates into other resources, and the other team is the smallest market in the league. And so that's where maybe those Dodger fans, Dodger ownership, anybody affiliated or in the orbit of the Dodgers might have a point in saying, look, it is possible. The Brewers have no money, and they also have sustained success
And
as
you know what
well.
else they don't have?
You're going to point, they don't have a ring. That's what you're going to point to. You're going to point to they do not have a
They
World
don't
Series
win.
champion.
They don't win.
So, well, they win a lot of games in the regular season, and then it just doesn't translate to the playoffs. Um, so I get that is if the ultimate goal, and it should be the ultimate goal is World Series championships, then yes, the Brewers are not competing with the Dodgers. But in every other facet, I mean, come on. We look at as a Cub fans, we look at two teams as the Dodgers are definitely up there, but I look at it used to be the Cardinals. The Cardinals used to be the envy of every Cub fan of like, why are we not the Cardinals? That's kind of gone by the wayside. They've had some management issues in St. Louis. Now it's the Brewers. I look at the Brewers and I hate them. I loathe their very being because I want to be them. They are a great organization, top to bottom. And they're doing it without having unlimited supplies and a just put it on the credit card.
Yeah. I think I go on a rant and it seems like I don't like the Dodgers. I've said this before. I really respect
We
the Dodgers
we
organization.
very much respect the
We
Dodgers.
would
The Dodgers are, and as Jeff Passan, I think one of the lines in his article was the Dodgers are doing everything they can inside of the current CBA.
this is
It's
not
not like they're cheating.
no, no,
They
and
are
I
doing everything that is allowed for them to do.
this is not
Good
this is
on
not
them.
this is not a rant against the Dodgers specifically. This is I respect the Dodgers organization and I would be wanting to do the same thing should I have that amount of
Yep.
money and that availability. The system needs to change because
Sure.
they have more money than everybody else.
Sure.
They have access to more money than everybody else, and it is creating a competitive imbalance. It is,
Yeah.
and it goes beyond the players on the field. This is not just about acquiring players. This is a top-down organizational. They are better than everybody else organizationally. And yes, there some of that is mentality and philosophy of that organization, but some of that is availability to funds to pay for smart people to come and work for you. That is what this rant is
Yeah.
about. Is you need the MLB needs to recognize that hey, the Dodgers are spending more money than everybody else. They're probably and that's great. We applaud them for doing that, but they actually kind of have more access to more funds than everybody else, and we need
Yeah.
to counteract that on the field by I don't know, and I don't know if a salary cap or a salary floor is the answer. Players are never going to go for it. I don't know, we don't it's hard to say like this is going to be the fix. This whole thing is just to point out Dodger fans, stop parroting this line. You are
Everybody else can do it.
you sound ridiculous when you say this. You sound ridiculous when you parrot this line. It
Yeah.
is not true that every team can do this.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Not every fish in the sea can be a shark. The ecosystem would collapse. Like, no,
Rant
it's
over. Rant
okay.
over.
Yeah, let's go to a break, huh?
We'll be right back with second half previews and some other notable deadline stuff. As always, this episode is presented by Legends Attic in Claremont. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. in the Legends Attic world. So let's start Legendary Tuesday. Joe Kelly at ONT on August 18th, and then Mike Sosha at ONT on September 1st. Those are going to be the final two Legendary Tuesdays. Great season, great first inaugural season for the Tower Buzzers at ONT, and a great year of guests at ONT for Legendary Tuesday. So keep an eye out for those announcements and ticket releases. Two other big events coming up. Dalton Rushing is going to be in shop, Claremont, California, at the home store. Dalton Rushing, backup catcher for the Dodgers, actually filled in because Will Smith's been on the injured list for quite
Yeah.
some time. So he's been at the center of a lot of attention this season due to a number of different incidences. But he gets sometimes a bad rap. Dalton Rushing has been to the shop before. He was actually really great. Took a ton of time out for everybody. Was super
Cool.
nice. Just very gracious with his time. So that the date on that was originally the 15th. I think it's actually going to change to the 20th, maybe. But we're going to be announcing that soon. So keep an eye on the Legends Attic Instagram for that. Also, big news: Oral Hershiser is getting his Walk of Fame star, Hollywood Walk of Fame,
Hey.
next Thursday.
All
Congratulations,
right.
Oral. He's going to be honored in the sports entertainment category. So
Cool.
probably on next week's podcast, because I'm going to get some access to film some of that ceremony,
Yeah.
I think we're going to be talking about and recapping that. So
Yeah. That'd be
coming
great.
into this
And hats
podcast with,
off to Oral. That's
yeah,
great.
congratulations, Oral. I was talking to him yesterday. Um, just he was being too modest, and I just said, Oral, you've earned this. You've been in this world for a long time, and you've put in the work, and you've earned this. Bob Costas is going to be emceeing that event.
Oh,
There's going
cool.
to, guest speakers are going to be Clayton Kershaw, Dave Roberts, um, Joe Davis, and Jaime Jarrín. So
That's
that
quite the
that
hot
event,
tub right there.
yeah,
That's a cool list.
that event is going to be open to the public. There is limited seating, and those are RSVP only. So this is not like a ticketed event necessarily. This is just like a Hollywood's going to block off the street in which which the ceremony is occurring on. You can come out and stand on the streets. If you've never been to Hollywood and you want to go, boy, you're in for a treat. So, but that's going to be an exciting event, and we'll talk. I'll recap that event next week on a podcast because that's a
Cool.
pretty cool thing that's happening next week. So again, a lot of things going on in the Legends Attic world. Make sure to keep track of us on Legends Attic on Instagram and the Legends Attic YouTube page. So this episode is also presented by Oral Hershiser Chevrolet.
Oh, Chevy.
Oh, Chevy at the corner of Central and Riverside in Chino. Um, if you need a vehicle, Oral Hershiser Chevrolet, ohchevy.com, ohchevy.com. I drive an Equinox. There are plenty of other vehicles that would be good. Andy, if you could take a road trip with anybody
Yeah.
in an Oral Hershiser Chevrolet, living or dead, who would it be? Who's your road trip? What who's
Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy
I
Roosevelt?
mean, you want to? Teddy's going to make an
Imagine,
appearance.
imagine trying to imagine trying to explain a vehicle to Teddy Roosevelt. The first like
Yeah.
half an hour would just be you explaining a motorized vehicle to him.
I mean, do you want me to be sentimental about it? Like the very first thing I thought was you. We should do.
Oh,
I've done a road trip before, cross country.
we've done
We
a
should do
couple.
another one because it has been about 15 years, right? So I think we are in line for another one, and that would lend itself nicely to the podcast as well as we chronicle our travels across this great nation that I'm not even currently in right now.
We'd have
Unless
to
you
go.
want to come over to the Czech Republic and we do a cross
I would do a
nation.
European. I would do a European one.
I
That'd
was
be
going to
fun.
say it takes about maybe 7 hours to drive from east to west coast in the Czech Republic, so that wouldn't last very long. But if you want to do a pan Europe road trip,
That's what.
I
Yeah,
think
Pan Europe.
that would be a lot of fun.
Uh, we would have to go to Boulder, Colorado. Regardless
Yes,
of
we
whether
would.
we did
Yes,
an
we would.
American or European, either one, we'd have to go to Boulder,
Yeah,
Colorado,
we're
and
we're just making a stop in Boulder. Yeah,
reenact the thing.
yeah.
Um, if you're going to take a road trip, take it in an O Chevy. Thanks again, Legends Attic and Oral Hershiser Chevrolet, for sponsoring this podcast. And now back to the episode. And we're back. I've calmed down. I've gotten a good amount of IV. I've taken a breather.
Yeah, you went Josh Lyman or Bradley Whitford. Sorry there. Actually, no, you went Bradley Whitford in Billy Madison is what
Yeah,
you did.
yeah.
Is business
I
ethics.
was.
Ah,
Uh, we're
that's what you
good.
did.
We're good, everybody. Don't worry. I've calmed down. Let's
Climb
talk
back
about.
from the ledge.
Let's wrap up our trade deadline kind of review. Any other
Yeah,
notable deals for you? Let's talk about the Cubs pitching staff. They now have 19 pitchers, 19 starting
yeah, they do.
pitchers. I'll just say as a note before we get into that, AJ Preller never change. That dude just cannot help himself. He
He's got an itchy trigger finger, man.
the
I Good
Padres.
on him. You need GMs. I'm glad, the Padres have had moderate success, made it to an NLCS a few years back when they swung the Juan Soto deal. They're not going anywhere this year. They're not going anywhere next year, really
Didn't
for the
stop
next
AJ
10 years,
Preller. Didn't stop AJ
because
Preller.
no, they literally don't have a farm system. They are not running out AAA, AA teams because they don't have anybody. He's already traded
Everyone.
everybody in the farm
Everyone.
system away. The fact that he's still swinging deals, I'm going, what are you trading for? I don't understand. What you have
We're
nothing to give
we're
away.
giving kudos to AJ Preller because the San Diego Padres are third in the West, and they're a few games out of the wild card, out of the final wild card spot, and yet when they probably should trade Mason Miller and replenish some of that farm
Yeah,
system, they
yeah.
went out and got Casey Mize and Robbie Ray to fortify their starting pitching just
And
because.
didn't they get like Dalton Varsho too? I thought they got a couple other people, didn't they?
I'm
There were
sure
a
they
couple of
did.
us like, what are you doing?
I'm sure they did. But man, AJ Preller just always going for it. Wow.
Yeah.
Way to go, guy. Other notable deals, Adley Rushman to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
In that one, there's been
The
some.
narrative around that is the Red Sox probably gave up a little bit too much for Adley Rutschman, as Boog likes to enunciate the T in
Yeah.
Adley Rutschman's name. Yeah, I mean, I don't follow the top 100 prospect list maybe as closely as I should if we want this podcast to be professional or whatever. But yeah, the narrative around that is the Red Sox probably leveraged the future a little bit too much for this deal. The Red Sox have firmly secured their spot in the wild card. They're 6.5 games up as of today on the third wild card team. The Yankees are just a game ahead of them. The Red Sox have fought their way back from destitution,
Yeah.
like just a cellar of a start there, just in the basement in the East. They have definitely turned their season around. So good on their management for getting rid of Alex Cora, identifying that's the problem. Let's get Chad Tracy's in there right now, I think. Let's get somebody else at the helm, right the ship, and they have righted the ship. So good on the Red Sox. I don't know. They were in desperate need of catching help. That's where Adley Rutschman comes in. Um, does it make them the favorite in the AL? No. But at the same time,
Who
if
is?
you were to ask me, Andy, who is the favorite in
I
the
just
AL?
did.
I'd
I
be
just
like,
asked you.
nobody. Nobody is the favorite
Yeah.
in the AL. So there you go. Maybe Boston is the favorite just
Possibly.
by process of elimination because nobody else is.
Yeah, we referenced the third wild card spot is up for grabs, and basically there's like seven teams within a game and a half of that third wild card spot. So
Everybody in the AL is vying for that last spot.
we buried the Tigers last week, and I think they've been seven
Oh,
and
they're in
three in
the
their
mix.
last. They're
Are you getting? No, that's actually, let's go down that road real quick. Because this would be because the Tigers did this a couple of years ago. They got rid of Jack Flaherty, I believe, to the Dodgers. That was that
yeah.
deal there. They brought in some prospects. This was a couple of years ago, and this is where they went on their like 31-11 run over August and September to make it into the playoffs. That was after they were sellers, and I'm going, there's a template here. There is precedent. They've already done this before. Watch them get rid of Skubal and Casey Mize, their top two pitchers. Watch them make the playoffs. Watch them make a run now after they've kind of reloaded and they have, what their haul from the Dodgers. Guys, they're going to be there for a while. I can see the Tigers actually making a push. And oddly enough, I don't want to say the Tigers are better now that they've gotten rid of Skubal and Casey Mize, but in a weird way, they might be set up for more success both this season and long term, uh, moving forward.
Yeah, you always wonder, right, is how much do contractual off the field stuff play into the energy or the vibe, as the kids like to say, of the clubhouse. There was
The
some
kids, I drop vibe all the
oh,
time.
stop it. Um,
Vibe is
you and
great.
you and Uncle Dave. Uh,
Yep, feeling the vibes.
there is some speculation of like maybe the contention between the front office and Tarek Skubal. I don't even know if contention is the right word because he genuinely seemed to like want to be there, but
Yeah,
just the inability to come together over the past off season, the arbitration case where he won like the most money ever in an arbitration case, just not the divide between where the Tigers were at and where Tarek Skubal wanted to be. Could that have played a role in just how the clubhouse felt being
a
around?
little bit of tension. I was going to say, yeah, you remove that potential. I mean, we're not in the clubhouse,
We're not.
but maybe kind of removes a little bit of that distraction, or if there was some tension there, and now the guys loosen up a little bit, and everybody can just go play baseball.
Right.
I think Joey. I know, Joey, you made it to this part of the podcast. You are going to be happy to hear at least me say, although I would imagine, Adam, you would possibly be in agreement. The Tigers have a good shot at making the playoffs this year. And then even though they were supposed to not only be the AL Central favorite this year, they were supposed to compete for a World Series, seeing as we all had the Tigers in the World Series in our pick 'em. I think they do set themselves up. If the AL is going to be as weak as it is this year, the Tigers set themselves up very nicely years into the future to be a probably perennial favorite in the AL.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, particularly in the AL, of just you look at the standings and it's just it's sort of it like the picture is sort of taking shape. You know, it's Tampa Bay, Yankees, and Red Sox will
Yeah.
be in. Central's sort of up for grabs, except for the Royals, and then the West has. There's going to be an interesting race for the West. Somebody from the West has to
Yeah.
win. Somebody.
Yeah. Ugh.
Interestingly, Jacob DeGrom, they tried to trade him. He said no. So that was I found that to be a little bit interesting. He just wants to be in Texas, and Texas is still in it. But the
The Cubs could
Athletics,
have used
after
DeGrom.
you
I think we
said
brought that up as the Cubs should have gone after DeGrom.
it sounds like he just wants to play in Texas. Doesn't want to move. Doesn't care. You
Well,
got reportedly they tried to trade him to Atlanta, and he said no.
huh.
After you had said that the Athletics were going to win the World Series, they
Yeah,
have
they
lost about
haven't won
every
a game
single
since.
game.
That
They've
was
lost
two
every
months
single.
ago, and they literally have not won a game in 2 months. So I
Yeah. So
apologize to Mark Kotze, to the pitching coach who got fired, and to all of the A's players because I have single-handedly shipwrecked your season.
yeah.
I apologize.
So the AL is going to be interesting here down the stretch. I think the NL there weren't really any notable deals to me outside of that Adley Rutschman trade in the AL, and then contenders in the NL. I'm not a big believer in Dustin May, so
Oh,
consolation prize
if
for
that's the Brewers' big move, that's a that's a
oh
whoopee. Like a
White Sox got Luis Castillo. I think a few weeks back I said it was
oh,
Johnny Cueto, and that's what I got confused by. I got confused.
I can see the confusion there, to be
Both
honest.
Reds, both had dreads.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
they got Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo hasn't been good for about 3 years, so that White
Oh,
Sox thing was just like, hey,
no.
let's go get a name to get our fans excited.
Yeah,
He's not going to help. He's not going to help, and I
no.
think he let
And
up 5 runs in the start yesterday in a
here's the
wild
thing,
game
though.
against
I
Arizona.
keep expecting the White Sox to fall off, and they haven't yet. They're still
Ish.
playing good baseball. The Cubs are
Yeah.
going to see him again pretty soon here, so get a closer look at the White Sox and what they're rolling out, what Will Venable's rolling out there on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, I don't know. I keep saying I'm betting against the White Sox. It's like I'm not. I'm taking the field in the
Yeah.
AL Central the rest of the way. If you're going to ask me, but hey, the White Sox make it good on them.
Yeah.
You know,
Um, so that was a move that happened in the AL. And again, the NL really contenders standing pat-ish. Again, Dustin made the Brewers. Not sure that's going to really move the needle. The Atlanta Braves kind of stood pat. Again, they tried to trade for DeGrom. He said no. So
yeah,
that's
the
they
Braves
seem
not making a
fine.
big push is not typical for them. Typically, they wheel and deal at the trade deadline, or most famously, they did in 21 when they won. Um, I would say, I mean, the Cubs, you're saying the contenders didn't really do much. The Cubs made moves. Like the Cubs,
I haven't gotten to the Cubs yet. So the Cubs, I think, were the most active of the NL teams
yeah,
outside of the Dodgers. I mean,
yeah.
and first of all, before we run down the Cubs move,
Acquisitions
do you have
along.
would you attribute the lack of activity to be lockout related? Would you attribute the Dodgers getting Scooble? Is there any
Probably
influence
both.
on
I
the
mean, my
wider
initial
market?
inclination is it's once the Dodgers got Scooble, it was kind of like well, what's the point? Why would we, again, leverage the future to get a rental in a year where we don't have a lot of hope? That's where the Cubs making as many deals as they did and giving up a lot. I mean, it's not that the Cubs farm system is great, and it's not that I mean, we see the guys that come up. Uh,
Yeah,
the Cubs system.
we're gonna do a podcast about conspiracy theories. You want to hear a conspiracy theory? I forgot this in the Dodger rant. It would not surprise me. Conspiracy theory. All right, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
this is a it's alternate universe conspiracy theory. With all that Dodger money, maybe they're paying MLB Pipeline to pump up their. I think it's a myth. I think the fact
The
that
Dodgers farm
the
system is as
Dodgers
good as
so
it is.
good every year, it's
Yeah.
amazing every year. What if they're
Well,
just
the
saying,
Cubs,
"Hey, let's grease the skids here for the writers and
yeah.
just say all of our guys are amazing." That's a
The
myth.
Cubs, I think it was like a year or two ago, they were supposed to have one of the better farm systems in the bigs, and it's like, who?
Yeah.
Who? Kevin Alcantara?
No.
Not very good.
Yeah.
Um, the Ramirez kid, I'm really liking him.
Pedro's good.
Dude can hit.
Well,
The problem
Pedro.
is where you're gonna play. Because you either got to sit Bregman or Nico, um,
Yeah.
or you're DHing them is what you're doing. But I think the problem with the Cubs, and I kind of get Jed's strategy here of actually we can get rid of a lot of these guys because if you look around the diamond at who the Cubs are rolling out there every day, a lot of those guys are locked up for years from here now. Nico's going to be there for the next. Did Nico sign a 5-year deal, 6-year deal, extension, whatever? Nico's going to be there forever. Dansby's got a couple years left on his. Alex Bregman's there for 5. Pete Crow Armstrong just signed an extension. You have the corner spots. Hap's deal is up and Saya's deal is up at the end of this year. But again, Kevin Alcantara is not the solution out in the outfield.
Yeah. If you
Michael
don't,
Bush,
so running through just
where are these guys going to play? So I get Jed's kind of strategy of ship them out because we can't play them anyway
yeah.
and get the immediate need, which is pitching. I mean, everybody they brought in except for Tyrone Taylor, which they brought in with the Clay in the Clay Holmes deal. It's all pitching is definitely what they needed. But now they have a new problem where I already references. They seem to have 8 starting pitchers.
Yeah, so running through the deals that they made, they got Ryan Zefferjon from relief pitcher Ryan Zefferjon from the
Yeah.
Angels, and I think that's the deal that maybe hurts me the most,
Bad
just because
taste in the mouth,
I
giving up.
like
You
Moises
like moist spots.
Ballesteros. I'm a Moises Ballesteros guy. I think he's going to be good for the Angels. He's 21 years old and he already made it to the major leagues. I think he's got a really good bat. I think they're going to miss that bat, but again, he slots in as a DH long term, and that's I've always wanted. Kyle Schwarber leaves a bad taste in my mouth because Kyle Schwarber should have been the Cubs long term DH, and that was unfortunate. But
Schwarber would not be the Schwarber that we know, and I
no,
love Kyle.
correct, and that's where it's like
Would not
revisionist
have been
history.
Kyle Schwarber had he stayed on the Cubs.
Right.
The
That
Cubs
is
develop hitters like that. Like you got to go somewhere else to become that big bat.
correct. He
He
was no.
fits in Philly, clicked in Philly. That's why he is Kyle Schwarber.
Yes, I agree with that. But yeah, Moises Ballesteros got shipped out for Ryan Zefferjon, flame throwing reliever. They acquired Kevin Gossman. Kevin Gossman looks like he is part of a 70s folk band. But
Yeah,
he's on the
he
tail end
really
of his.
does. And I don't know if you watched, they interviewed him the other day on the
I
broadcast,
thought
and
he was really good.
he's kind of hippie-ish. He's
Yeah,
just kind of yeah, things
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Love it.
Um,
Yeah.
so they acquired Kevin Gossman.
That's a good 70s folk band.
Yeah, 70s folk. He looks
Yeah, that's spot on. That's spot
the bassist for Loggins and Messina. Um,
on.
They got Clay Holmes and Tyron Taylor from the Mets. Clay Holmes, relief pitcher turned starter. He's been hurt this year, but he is
Broken
scheduled to
leg.
start either today or tomorrow. I think it's Gossman today, and
But
then Clay
yeah,
Holmes tomorrow. So Cubs have been injured. The starting pitching staff has been injured basically this entire year. Their entire pitching staff has been injured. So
yeah.
they get reinforcements. And to Andy's point, when these guys start coming back, and we don't know if Ben Brown's coming back. Justin Steele probably not coming back.
There's some encouraging signs that Ben Brown is coming back, which they dropped a stat the other day. I think Boog and JD were talking about it. Ben Brown, if you're unfamiliar, we love Ben Brown. Actually, Ben Brown's probably one of my favorite Cubs. Um, Ben Brown added a splitter to the mix, whatever. He was a two-pitch pitcher, adds a splitter or a sinker. I think it's a splitter. Runs into the right-handed batter. And he has been incredible this year. They dropped a stat on the broadcast the other day that the Cubs pitcher with the highest WAR right now in the season is Ben Brown. What makes this remarkable is Ben Brown hasn't pitched in about 2 months. That's
Mm.
how good he was in the window that he was hurling it this season. I think he was only pitching for about a month and a half, but he was so good in that time that he racked up such a big WAR. He was so valuable to that team in that time that he was out there that he's still the Cubs WAR leader. So if they get him back at the level that he was pitching, I'm saying he's your number one. Like
Yeah.
you're rolling him out there and he is shutting everybody down. He's not Mizorowski level, not going that far. But Ben Brown's your number one, I think, if Ben Brown is healthy.
Yeah. So, and they gave up again. Moises Ballesteros is out. Jefferson Rojas, who was a young prospect for them.
Shortstop.
You can't really, again,
Where is
don't
he
like
going
to
to play?
see don't like to see purple leaf, but at the same time, you can't have it both ways, and you can't say, "Oh, the
Yeah.
farm systems are PR machines for
Yeah.
teams just to avoid spending money." So I actually don't mind trading guys again. But it's Moises Ballesteros was the one. But I agree with what they did. I kind of like what they did. I kind of like the guys that they got. It's interesting that they got guys who are expiring contracts. You wonder if there's any, you know, we don't want to be on the hook as we go into this off season for much
Yeah.
money. But
Yeah.
it for I mean, we've seen Jed operate, and Jed is a let's buy low on some guys who we think have upside that maybe Tommy Hotovy can
Michael
whisper.
Soroka.
Yeah. So this is par for the course for the Cubs, but in terms
But
of
I
the
mean, that
guys that
being
they're
said,
buying
there's
low
some
on,
clunkers in there, but there has also been some gems. I mean, I think Andrew Chafin was a good pick. They have found some guys that it's like, oh yeah, like nobody else. And I think that's a tribute not to Jed, but really to the Cubs development team. Tommy Hotovy is a pitcher whisperer. I think
hey,
Tommy
Dodger
Hotovy is.
fans, why do you think your pet player development is so good? Because you paid for it. Anyway,
Okay, but let's get to this. So let's say Ben Brown comes back healthy, which positive signs. Justin Steele's probably not making it back this year. There was a little bit of a setback earlier in the year. I don't think he's coming back. And you can kind of fill in the gaps here because I'm not going to be able to list all of these guys. But right now you have, as your starters, you have Matthew Boyd, Shota Imanaga, Colin Ray. You have, this is where I'm going to need a little bit of help here.
Jameson Taillon.
Not there anymore. Poor Jameson. He's
Did he
now
get
a
picked up? He
Blue
got picked up by the
Jays.
Blue Jays. Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah. Who did I say? Boyd, Shota Imanaga, Colin Ray, Javi Assad is a possible starter. If Ben Brown comes back, Ben Brown. Now you have Kevin Gossman. You have Clay Holmes. That's 7 that I'm on right now. And I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing? David Peterson.
David
They also
Peterson.
got David Peterson. David Peterson's a starter. So that's 8 right now. I mean, best case scenario, although I don't know if it's best case scenario, is Justin Steele comes back. That's 9 starting pitchers on your staff.
Well, we know. Well, okay, we
What is
know.
right? Is they're not going to carry Javi Assad because they hate Javi Assad for some reason. I don't understand. But is the strategy, and this is where it's more of a, I'm going to ask about postseason strategy. Is this kind of the new thing to do? It's what the Dodgers did last year, predominantly with their pitching staff, is we're going to run with five starters and we're just going to use them in different spots. And they're going to be our relievers as well. Carry eight starting pitchers and then just make it work. I mean, but the Cubs also have some bullpen guys that they rely on as well. I just don't, maybe it's just a question. I mean, I'm spinning my wheels and sputtering here, just going, you do have eight starting pitchers.
Hey, Dodger
What do you
fans,
do with
do you
all
know
those
where
guys?
depth comes from? Do you know why you have the best depth in all of baseball? Because of money. All right, I'm just going to keep throwing that in. Do you know why that you're able to
Why do
endure
you, well,
a
what's the
two?
strategy behind having eight starting pitchers?
Let me rant
When
on
you're
the Dodgers real
only in
quick. Can I?
first, you're only gonna have a 3 game series.
I'm going to rant.
And
I'm gonna
five
one more
game is
thing.
it?
One more thing on the Dodgers. You know why you're able to endure a 240 season from Kyle Tucker and a 220 season from Mookie Betts? Money. Strategy wise,
Kyle Tucker, by the way. I mean, we could have told this is a I told you so.
well, we did.
I
We
didn't want to
Andy
resign
did tell
Kyle
you
Tucker.
so.
I was like, great, go ahead,
Um,
sign it.
I,
You're getting exactly what you paid for.
I think this is what I like about what the Cubs did. I like the potential upside. Now, I don't think that it's necessarily going to work. Like, I like the
Yeah,
upside of Kevin Gossman. I like the upside of Clay Holmes, but the idea that all of these are going to hit, and this is where it's like you got eight pitchers, yeah, but it becomes a meritocracy at that point. It's just who's pitching the best.
right,
You
right.
throw out whoever's pitching the best. Now, I think the obvious is like you move Javi Assad maybe off the roster like they
Long
did
relief.
last year, but Javi
Yeah.
Assad and Colin Ray go to long
Well,
relief.
they're
And then
all they're
it's
all long relief. That's what
yeah,
I. Sorry, I'm cutting you off, but you're right. It becomes a meritocracy. Is who's going to catch fire, who gets hot, so that you start them game one and then game three or four, depending on whatever series you're in. So let's say that's Matthew Boyd. Matthew Boyd's your guy, and Matthew Boyd has looked very, very good.
yep.
Matthew Boyd's your game one starter. He pitches great in game one, so you throw him back out there in game four. He has a clunker of a first inning.
Well, but
That's where you can
by the
throw
way,
a David Peterson in.
that's what
Yeah.
happened last year with the Brewers. Is why we wanted Javi Assad. We did not agree with the fact that Matthew Boyd was trotted out there on short rest last
Yes.
year, and we thought,
Yes. That's
why
where
are you
this
not
is
pitching
where
Javi
Javi
Assad?
Assad fits in,
Yeah,
is you can throw him out there.
yeah,
And so I think that's their strategy here is like, great. We have an abundance of riches. Well, you have abundance of like, all those guys are good, but not great.
yeah.
You
I think
know,
that's where it's like you're betting on upside. I think the benefit of Clay Holmes in particular is yeah, he's a starter, but he has experience being a closer. I think
reliever. All those
it's
guys do.
yeah.
Right. Oh, I shouldn't say all of them, but at least they're kind of familiar with that long relief. I think Peterson also had some long relief stuff as well at some point in time in his career.
So what's the strategy? I just think it's a that's where I would point to is just let's just see. Let's
Bill,
just see
like,
who
just get pitch innings.
yeah.
That's their strategy, is just get innings somehow. Get 3 outs every inning, and we really don't care who's doing it.
Yeah. So
Not a bad strategy. It's how you want
yeah,
to
we'll
get
see. I think we've been going on for quite some time on this episode. I think the last topic, unless you have anything else, it's just there's been a lot of chatter this week about the MVP race in the NL in particular. Obviously, under the
It's
microscope.
because the I was going to say it's because the NL MVP race had a showcase
Yeah,
the other day with Pete Crow Armstrong and Shohei facing off, and both of them did put on a show.
they did. And I'm going to ask a question. And it's I understand. I'm going to come out and say I don't even fully believe in the question I'm about to ask. Just going to point that out now. Why, if in 2013, I understand they're different sports, but why in 2013 did we not give the MVP to LeBron James when he was on a super team? And we are giving Shohei Ohtani MVPs even though he is on a super team.
Uh, Apples and oranges.
Okay.
I think
That's why I
the
say it's a
fact
different sport.
Shohei is a unicorn, the fact that he is who he is. Granted, he's not pitching at this moment in time, but because he is the greatest baseball player to ever roam planet Earth, that makes it a different conversation. I don't care what team he's on. He makes that a super team.
Yeah, I think this is the age old argument around MVP races is like how do you define most valuable player? Most
Yeah.
valuable player for
Your
your
team,
team,
are you the
or
best in the
are you
league?
just the
Yeah.
best player that year? You know, you can
Yeah.
make the argument that Pete Crow Armstrong is more valuable to his team than Shohei Ohtani is
Yes.
to the Dodgers. I don't know if I even buy that argument because Shohei is so incredible,
Yes.
but
Yes.
the argument, how you define MVP and what that award actually is, whether it's best player or most valuable to your team. I think the argument kind of falls apart. It's like Shohei Ohtani would be the most valuable player on any other
And any
team,
team.
and
That's
he's
correct.
still probably the most valuable player on the Dodgers. And so,
Yes.
um, I think Pete is giving him a run
Well, I was going to
at
say,
the
I mean,
award.
we end this show with this is NL MVP. Who do you got right now?
I think if Shohei does not pitch another game in the regular season, I think voters will pick Pete Crow Armstrong, assuming he continues to hit. I mean, the problem with Pete is he had a dip last year in the second half, and he needs to not regress like he did last year. And
Yeah.
so you're looking at the offensive engine of a team that's scoring the second most runs in all of baseball per
Yeah.
game, and you're looking at the best defender in the game, and you can
He,
make the
by
argument that
miles ahead of everybody else. Yeah.
yeah. And so in that sense, I think it comes down to if Shohei doesn't pitch, I think Pete probably has it. You?
I agree. That is exactly where I stand is if there is no dip in performance for either one of them right now, but Shohei doesn't pitch, I think you give the nod to PCA just because of what he can do defensively.
Yeah,
And the metrics there
that might be voter fatigue. That might be Dodger fatigue
a little bit.
on
Yep.
Shohei's
Yep.
part.
Good point.
Their numbers are. This is not like a. Their numbers are really really similar. And if you watch any of
Yeah.
The
They
Cubs
are.
games, they put the side by side up every chance they got, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the slash lines are pretty similar.
Yeah.
Obviously, Pete has a better WAR just because again he's out there every day, and Shohei stopped pitching, um, and stolen bases, but. Yeah, it's not a crazy argument to say like PCA should win. I think
No.
this is an MJ LeBron thing of like Shohei could probably win every year, but this could just be a voter fatigue thing, or
Yeah.
it could be legit.
Agreed.
All right, well
All
that was a.
right.
Are we going back to that stat, or is that still on break? Are we
No,
still
not enough.
is
We are about what we are you 2 hours in?
no one
These
knows?
poor listeners. Jessica, I know you're still with us.
I blacked out. I blacked out
Way to
during my
go.
rant.
Way to go. You made it.
Well, you have
Completely wasted.
wasted, squandered, whatever you want to put in there, whatever verb you want to put in there. Another perfectly good at least hour and a half. We've been going for at least an hour and a half. So I'm not gonna go with the accurate number. Uh, Listening to this podcast, our executive producers for this episode are Eddie, the head of the Jackson Dart and Anne Hathaway Social and Pleasure Club, Alizade, and Christian, two short shorts, quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth Alizade. Our producer, our entire staff is back. I don't have the list pulled up,
Yeah.
but so I'm gonna have to go off memory. But our producer is Philip Airtime. Our researchers are Dustin Shells and Anita Lotmore. Our quality control officer, Lois, we had to give a break. She's the only one
Well,
who got a week off because
yeah. And again, after the reports that she was out scooting around at 2 in the morning with Harrison Bader, it's like, Lois, you need some time by yourself. Get your life together.
she came into the office. She was hobbling. I think she sprained her ankle. And so I saw it and I was like, you need a break. The head of our romantic movie division is Hey, Would You Cuddle Me? Our staff therapist is Amanda Hugginkiss. Our hygiene director is Anita Bath. Our dermatologist for teenagers is Don Pickett.
Don,
And
come
our
on, man.
French dog walker is Poupon de Grasse. Again, thank you, Legends Attic and Oral Hershiser Chevrolet for sponsoring this podcast.
Oh, Chevy.
Thank you, Bart. Thank you, Click and Clack. And thank you, Teddy Roosevelt, for all of the inspiration. We'll be back next week.
Not Franklin.
Not
Matthew, I
Franklin.
also know you made it this far. We are not thanking Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Although
We're
we
thinking
probably should because he was a really
we
good president
should.
too.
Yeah, he was a good
Um,
president, but we like Teddy.
we like Teddy.
We were talking about
We may or may not be back this next week. We'll see. Because
Teddy.
whoa,
It's always a little touch and go every single week. You never really know.
I either will or won't be at the Walk of Fame ceremony. We will see. If we're not back, you'll know why. All right. Thanks, everybody.